Hello and a warm welcome to everyone. I'm Daniel.
And I'm Matthias.
And we are both here today to tell you how you can make a dream come true. Machines that started immediately, right in the beginning of the commissioning phase.
Yeah, and of course we want to convince you that now is the right time to get into the topic of virtual commissioning. But before we start, Daniel, what's the idea behind virtual commissioning?
Most of us remember those days when our daily life looked like this. The world is made up of trial and error. Fall down, get up, carry on. And this principle implies especially for machine builders.
Only that falling in the commissioning phase is particularly little fun. This is the moment when the gripper arm crashes into the conveyor. Daniel, not really nice situation.
Definitely not. But that is why we believe in the principle, fail fast, fail often. But only that we say, let's fail in the virtual world, because there are no damages.
Virtual world. You mentioned Thomas Edison as a sponsor for virtual commissioning at the Hanover Fair. Can you explain that to us?
Of course. I don't know if every one of you knows Thomas Edison. Thomas Edison was the inventor of the first light bulb. And in order to come up with the first working one, Thomas needed 10,000 trials in order to bring it to light. That is a lot of amount of trials, broken glass, and of course time. With virtual commissioning, Thomas would have only needed one trial. That is the idea behind virtual commissioning. But Matthias, can you please give us some insights behind that solution?
Of course, with pleasure. So, in detail, our solution consists of 3 software packages. But why 3? Yeah, to simulate a machine in the virtual world, you have to map 3 essential parts of the machine to the virtual world. So that means the automation, the electrical behavior, and also the mechanics of a machine. And this is exactly what PLC Sim Advanced, SIMIT, and NX Mechatronic Concept Designer do. But let's start with the automation. PLC Sim Advanced is our virtual controller based on the Simatic S7-1500. With such a virtual controller, you validate the PLC code and ensure high software quality from the beginning of the engineering phase. And in addition, PLC Sim Advanced has an open interface to other simulation tools, such as SIMIT, which brings us to the next module. In the next step, you have to simulate the electrical behavior of a machine. That means the sensors and the actuators of a machine. For example, the drives. So, in combination, PLC Sim Advanced and SIMIT enables the validation of the PLC code under the consideration of the electrical system behavior. That means you do not have to manipulate or change the original PLC code. So, last but not least, to complete the digital twin, the mechanic is still missing. And this is the point where the NX Mechatronic Concept Designer comes into play. With the NX Mechatronic Concept Designer, we validate the mechanical properties of a machine and can visualize them in 3D. And such 3D modules make it easy to detect possible mechanical collisions at a very early stage of the development process. So, in combination, PLC Sim Advanced, SIMIT, and NX Mechatronic Designer completes the digital twin of a machine.
As you can see, SIMIT, PLC Sim Advanced, and NX Mechatronic Concept Designer are an unbeatable package together. But at the same time, you can use those modules individually and combine it or implement it step by step. For example, you can get great achievements when you use a combination of SIMIT and PLC Sim Advanced. But what are these advantages? The first advantage is you achieve a faster time to market, because the virtual environment enables you to simulate it, and the advantage is that the engineering department and the automation department can work in parallel on the same project. So no one needs to wait until the previous engineering step is completed. Secondly, you can reduce your risks, because the virtual environment also gives a chance to reduce unplanned events and therefore reduce the risks when it comes to real commissioning. And you can achieve a better quality of your machines actually, because you can test different alternatives and choose the best one before the machine is built.
Yeah, and we found out that a key role is the scalability. That means that you can implement a virtual commissioning solution step by step in your engineering processes and workflows. That means starting small and build up the digital twin step by step.
And it is also interesting to see what companies have made out of the chances that virtual commissioning is offering. Because implementing a new software is usually just the beginning of rethinking and refining existing development and engineering processes.
Yeah, and how this looks like in practice, we brought an example with us. Here you can see two colleagues from our Danish customer DISA. DISA produces molding machine for foundries. But yeah, it's not only valid for foundries or for molding machines. The faster the commissioning phase is complete, the faster the production can produce. But see what virtual commissioning solves problems from DISA and how their daily work changed.
Everything can be simulated. We had difficulties finding something that we couldn't do. At DISA, we are able to deliver competitive edge molding machines. The most important issue is to provide a very high uptime because our molding machine is the core of the foundry. So if a molding line stops, it's very expensive for the foundry.
We are challenged always with lead times on machines and installment at customers. So therefore it has been important for us to establish a new way to test our software and test our equipment before going to the physics of the machines.
We have been able to continuously develop our machine simulator so that we now have the whole molding line simulated to perfection. Our approach towards the digitalization at DISA has been to take it in steps. Focus, where's your need right now? Develop a digital simulation for this, and then build up. We can reduce our test time perhaps from 2 to 1 week. The innovation box is our room where we can set and test our solutions. We have it right in our machine production hall.
The general idea was to have a workplace close to the assembly line, so the collaboration between actually physics works and updating our digital twin would work much faster.
It's so much more intuitive now. When you're working from your desktop with a simulated machine, you get into the computer gaming mindset. You get into a flow of testing. You're ready to try everything. You don't have any fear. It makes you more confident and more thorough because you go out further.
This was an example that shows that it is not only about implementing a new software, but it is also an example that shows what huge potential is behind virtual commissioning. Now, you are probably wondering about the costs and since when virtual commissioning pays off. And the good thing is, Matthias has an answer to my question.
Yeah, I have to admit it's not a simple answer that's valid for all companies or for all customers. But basically, the savings can be divided in two big topics. On the one hand side, the savings in the commissioning phase itself. And on the other hand side, Daniel also mentioned it, the efficiency gains in the development process. But to make this a little bit more clear, we prepared a simple graph. And yet, to be honest, at the beginning of a new topic, there is always an invest. Invest in software, invest, but also in know-how. So, yeah, that's the first step. But on the other hand side, there are very big benefits. And there I want to show you just a few, or give you a few examples, what could be the benefits out of the virtual commissioning and using a digital twin. So, the first thing is virtual prototypes. So, just think about how many effort you spend on build real prototypes. So in the future, with the digital twin, you can do this in the virtual world. No real prototypes are needed any longer. So, and another point is better testings, also as mentioned in the video. So you can test very much more things and remember the gripper arm with the conveyor belt from the beginning. So that is an example what you can detect very early in the development process. And also the shorter time to market through the parallel workflows. And that's not enough. The very important point I want to mention is the possibility to implement new business models based on virtual commissioning. So with a new business model, for example, in after-sales services or also operator training, you can perform based on the digital twin, so also very early of the development process. And another point that is very interesting is to use the digital twin also for sales and marketing. So you can use the digital twin to present your customer the machine on this quite similar to the reality. So I think this is also a very big benefit. So I think you see virtual commissioning is not for free, but it pays off earlier than you made for it at the beginning of our presentation.
Here ends our presentation. We are convinced that with virtual commissioning, a new era of machine engineering has just begun. And we are also convinced that virtual commissioning will play an important role in the next few years, because it is the most intelligent way to fail in the virtual world.
So you're welcome to discuss with us and also with our colleagues in the virtual commissioning area the possibilities to get into virtual commissioning right for your company and build up the digital twin step by step.
So we invite you to visit us at our booth, and it's just if you go straight beneath the huge few displays over there on the right-hand side, and we are welcome to discuss virtual commissioning with you and your individual solution.
Siemens, ingenuity for life.